my name is Shelby Walsh. Today we are in Selwood, Westmoreland. This is located in Portland, Oregon. I am a psych major, but I'm currently in a JAMS class, Journalism and Media Studies, and I'm focusing on a story today that is very personal to me. I actually grew up in this neighborhood. I've been here for about 15 years now. I went to elementary, middle, and high school in this area, and my mother owns a business here, and she's actually featured in my video today. But this is a story about businesses, the struggles that they are dealing with, and most importantly, employment struggles. This is something I've heard about from my own mother's business and several of her other friends here in this neighborhood. I'm going to feature a few businesses that are behind me here. Some restaurants this way. If you circle around this way, this is some of the block that I'll be featuring in today's video, and some of the businesses. And also some businesses that aren't featured right now. I have a few blocks down. These are all people I've known for quite a bit, some time in my life. And I just want to be able to share this with the rest of the community and the rest of my class. Thank you. Will you state your name for us, please?
Benjamin James Gilmore,
Okay, and what is the business that you own in Selwood?
Moreland Ale House,
And how long have you owned this business?
7 years.
Oh, wow, okay. Do you work here yourself and or do you employ others?
Yes,
Okay.
to both.
What have been some challenges that you faced while running a business here in Selwood?
Other than the crime and vagrants and vandalism, Portland's not a very happy business place these days.
Yeah. What kind of employment challenges specifically have you faced?
Well, after the pandemic, a lot of people left the industry, and there seems to be a general shortage of workers across the nation, but we're facing it specifically, especially in the kitchen. Very challenging to hire people.
Okay, I was going to say, and that was my second question, is it difficult to find help for you specifically in this business, restaurant industry?
Oh, yeah. The kitchen specifically, though, is the hardest category to cover.
The kitchen, okay, so that's cooks and stuff like that. Any prep and stuff like that as well? Or do the cooks do that? Okay, nice. I was going to ask why do you think that is specifically, but you kind of answered my question.
Yeah, I think
a
the
little.
pandemic had a huge part to do with it. A lot of people get into the industry with plans of using that as a part-time job to get into whatever they dream of doing, and then they just get sucked in and stay. And then when the pandemic happened, a lot of people took that opportunity to go find whatever it was they really wanted.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you as well, like how the pandemic affected this business. Like,
Well,
as
I
a
went
whole.
2 years without a paycheck. I spent $75,000 out of pocket to keep it alive. The myth of government help was not true. Yeah.
Okay, and do you have trust and confidence like in your employees when you're not here?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have good systems.
And last question, do you find yourself attached or unable to walk away from your business, aka do you feel you have a sense of freedom while owning a business?
Yes and no.
Okay. Do you want to elaborate at all, or?
Well, I mean, I'm on call 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
But I'm in this industry because I love it, so I don't mind that. But I also have the freedom to, make my schedule, do what I want when I want. So, I work hard, play hard.
Okay. And I was going to say you kind of already answered this, but do you enjoy running a business?
I am a terrible employee, so I have no other options.
Okay, well thank you for answering all my questions. Okay, can you state your name for us today?
Vicki Walsh.
And what business do you own in Selwood, Vicki?
I own Fat Albert's Breakfast Cafe.
And how long have you owned it, or has it been around?
22 years. I've personally had it for 7.
Okay. Do you work there for yourself, or do you also employ others?
So the answer to that question is both. I employ people to work for me, but I also work there with them.
Okay. And what have been some challenges you've faced while running a business like this?
Well, staffing is a big issue. It always has been, in the front of the house and the back of the house. Product, lack of product.
Okay. And what kind of employment challenges have you faced?
Finding people. So when you put an ad out, just somebody responding. There's just not a lot of workers out there that are ready to work.
Is it difficult to find like quality help? Is it difficult to keep help? Are there some more specifics there? Are you able to elaborate at all?
Well, in the restaurant business, you've got your entry level and you've got your cooks. So yes, it's hard to find good experienced cooks. That's kind of a hard area to just train somebody. They kind of need to know what they're doing, especially when you have a breakfast restaurant.
Okay. Why do you think it's been so difficult to find help over these recent years?
Well, I think some people think it's the pandemic. I'm not so sure it is the pandemic. I think before the pandemic, there was 2,000 more restaurants than there is now. And so that left a lot, like, for example, cooks. So finding cooks, because there's so many places for them to work. So it's hard for you to get cooks to work for you. So then you have the pandemic. And then after the pandemic, it seems like, we lost, 1,800 restaurants. So you would think you'd be able to get more. But instead, it was the reverse. Now you can't find any. So they may have went to different jobs, or they may have left to another state.
Okay.
I mean, that's definitely...
Do you think generation plays a role in the factor at all of quality of help, or?
Not necessarily. I think, no, I don't think so. Because I have different positions. It could be young to older.
Okay. And do you have trust and confidence in your employees when you're not around?
I do. And I do for a reason. I've been lucky enough to have the majority of my staff was set staff. So we're a pretty tight team.
Okay. Do you find yourself attached or unable to walk away from your business? AKA, do you feel that you have a sense of freedom while owning a business?
I do not feel I have a sense of freedom. When you're in the restaurant business, anybody that knows the restaurant business, it's pretty, you got to be there. It's not something that you usually have a lot of freedom to just walk away. You want to be hands-on. You want to see what's going on. You want to make sure your customers are getting good service. You want to make sure there's quality food going out your window. So, I mean, could you take a vacation? Yes, but you don't have a lot of freedom when you're running a restaurant business.
Okay. Do you feel like owning a business has impacted your mental health in any way?
I do. Because of the stress level that it can cause at times. And then sometimes there's times where you'll go, several months where you can't get away. So that can cause a little bit of stress. Definitely going through that pandemic. I think we did pretty well only because of our community supporting us. We came out the other side pretty well. But that weirdness of working at such a high level and then all of a sudden just dropped off, I think definitely would have an effect on anybody.
And Vicki, I noticed outside on your restaurant door that you have a closed until further notice sign. Can I ask you why that is?
Well, in June of last year, I survived the pandemic and opened back up. And then you got to get your staff back in and stuff like that. Well, then we got really busy. And it was really frustrating to now survive the pandemic, be busy, and have to close my restaurant because we don't have staff. So it comes down to staffing. I'm not the only person in the neighborhood. All the restaurants and bars are struggling with workers. But for me, it was just hard to continue to be out there and talking to people and going, I'm sorry, it's going to take a little while to get your food because we're short-staffed today. It was very frustrating to be here and offering like a full-time job, 2 or 3 to people, and you can't find anybody.
And did you have to make up for the lack of staffing?
Yes.
Yourself?
Yes, I did. So when people, if I didn't have my cooks in my kitchen, we had to close, which was detrimental to us because it didn't look good. People were upset because they love to eat here. We've been here for 22 years. This is where they want their breakfast. It just got so frustrating with lack of staffing and price of product, chasing product.
Okay, and lastly, wrapping this up here, do you enjoy running a business? And if so, why?
Actually, I do enjoy running a business. There's times I think I don't want to do this anymore, but it takes a certain type of person to function at this level. You have to be a delegator. You have to be able to, you know, want to show people how to do what they need to do. So I like that part of it. So I asked myself, you know, I probably would be bored if I didn't do this, because I'm a high level functioning person, which kind of takes that, you know, high energy to run like a restaurant or a bar or something like that. So you need to have that.
Okay. Well, thank you for answering all my questions. That's all I have for you.
Thank you.
Okay, state your name for us today, please.
My name's Kendra Starnick.
Awesome. Business you own in Selwood.
It's called Maeve Coffee and Wine, and self-explanatory.
Yeah. How long have you owned it?
A year and a month, so still really, really new.
Gosh, that's crazy. I didn't realize it's already been a year.
Yeah, I know. It's wild.
So, do you work here yourself, and/or do you employ others?
Yeah, so I work here with my sister. We co-own the business together, and we have 2 part-time employees.
Okay. And what have been some challenges you've faced while running this business?
Just like little things here and there, like supply chain issues. We've had to change our menu a few times when things were no longer available. We've had a break-in. Our dishwasher broke one time. So just like things, like once you think you're like, oh, it's a smooth day, something pops up, you know? So little obstacles, but it's scary.
No, for sure. Moving in a slightly different direction, but what kind of employment challenges have you faced?
Yeah, so we've been pretty lucky. We've had folks that have found other positions, so like it is hard to like invest in like training somebody and then have them like quit shortly after, but like we always want the best for everybody, and like everyone we've employed is so great that we're like, good for you, you know. So but that is like a challenge to be like, okay, I'm allotting this much to train, and then it's like, oh, okay. And so we've had weeks where we didn't have as much staff as we would like, and we've just had to like work extra to like fill in the gaps. But we've been pretty lucky.
Yeah. Is it like difficult to find help, and like how do you find help?
We've been good. Like we've used Poached as like a resource, which is like I'm sure you know, restaurant employment app, but it's hard to find somebody that has like the availability you need, and then you're also like being aware that like you're only offering so many hours, so you're like, yeah, I want to work with everybody, but like let's say I like interviewed 16 applicants and like no one had Sunday availability once, and I was like, whoa. Oh my goodness. So that's a struggle, but overall it's been all right.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you have trust and confidence in your employees when you're not here?
Totally. Yeah, we spend a lot of time with them when we're training, and like, you know, vibes are good, and yeah, like
good.
People have good references.
Good. And do you find yourself attached or unable to walk away from your business? aka, do you feel you have a sense of freedom while owning a business?
Yes and no. Like I co-own the business, so like I can't rely on my sister, but she has a baby, so like I do have to take a bigger role. Like let's say somebody's sick, like I'm probably gonna have to be the one to come in to cover it, because she only has daycare on certain days, and those are the days that she works. And then there's been times where I've tried to leave town, and then her baby gets sick, and it's just like, I also live in the neighborhood, so proximity is hard. Like I'm it's right down the street, I'm just gonna go check on it. Also, I'm a little bit of a control freak, so.
Okay, last question, just to wrap this up. Do you enjoy running a business, and why?
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's really cool to be your own boss. Like, I feel like I have an ally with my sister, and we're great employees, so it's pretty smooth. It can be stressful. Like I said, I'm a control freak. I'm trying to learn how to let it go a little bit, but for the most part, I do. Yeah,
I'm sure it could be kind of hard, like co-owning when you guys both have like maybe a certain style. So that's really interesting.
We're very different people.
Yeah.
Like she's definitely more of like a forward facing, and I'm definitely like a back of house person. So we do complement each other well, but we can only work together so much to like make it work.
Yeah, and you guys worked together for some time when you guys first opened
Yeah.
too. It was you two in here.
It was pretty much just us and one part-time employee. It's the only way we can make it work. So,
Yeah.
but we are still really close. We didn't.
Good.
I had dinner there last night. We still love each other.
Yeah, it's still working out. You know, we're only a year and a half. We'll see how it goes. All right. Well, thank you for answering my questions today, Kendra. It was nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you, Shelby.
So as you can see, we've heard from a couple different business owners in the area, and one of them was my mother. Her name was Vicky. I think you saw her for Fat Albert's clip. We've been working really hard actually to reopen, just to let everybody know we're going in a different direction, and we're both very excited. So it's something we've been, it's a project we've actually been working on now for 6 to 8 months. But it's been really exciting. It's also been very difficult. It's stressful on my mom. It's stressful on me. And as you can see, the stress doesn't just come from something like this, but it also comes from not being able to find help. And that's a very large part of this story today. I saw it in every owner, some a little bit more than others. My own mother had to close down her restaurant because of it. So no one could really say why this is all happening. Some blame the pandemic, some blame generational issues and all kinds of different stuff. But regardless, we got to hear from some people today in this community that have been struggling with this. And it was really nice to hear their point of view, and not just, you know, people who get to come in and eat, but people who serve the food, and the people who break bank and put blood, sweat, and tears into everything that they do, trying to make people happy here in the community. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.